Welcome to the Allies training modules for Fortifying Complex Output. My name is Soha Mahmoud Tabana, and I will be one of the facilitators walking you through this module. The concepts presented come from 2012 Allies, or Academic Language and Literacy in Every Subject. This effort focused on engaging in systematic research to identify core practices for academic language teaching. The Allies frame consists of 3 high-impact practices. For this module, we will focus on fortifying complex output. This practice focuses on providing and supporting extended and rich opportunities for oral and written academic language output, all of which is meant to fortify content learning. The cross-cutting practices, clarifying, modeling, and guiding, along with the foundational practice, support the high-impact practice of fortifying academic output. This practice focuses on structuring, strengthening, and supporting the quantity and quality of students' oral and written production using academic language, all of which is meant to fortify content learning. Output can include usage of home language, which should serve as a bridge to academic English. Why is this important? Students retain more language and content concepts when they create authentic and extended messages. The process of organizing thoughts for a real audience helps students increase both the quantity and quality of their oral and written output. It also helps students develop their ability to use appropriate vocabulary, syntax, and discourse strategies to communicate clear, meaningful, and original academic messages. Original disciplinary messages are student-generated oral or written products that contribute to and/or illustrate student understanding of the content of a lesson. They provide oral summary of the text. The teacher can respond in ways that extend student ideas and/or enable students to further explain and specify their thinking. The teacher should allow students sufficient time to produce and fortify written communication. It is very beneficial to engage students in both small and large group discussions before writing. Prompted and guided conversations provide students with opportunities to practice the use of complex language orally before using it in writing. Written output may include essays, articles, letters, and literature. It is important for teachers to support students in producing written texts that communicate clear, meaningful, and original academic messages in each discipline. The teacher can respond in ways that extend student ideas and/or enable students to further explain and specify their thinking. Text types refer to writing done for different purposes and different audiences. Examples from the Common Core writing standards include argumentative, informational, explanatory, and narrative. Text types refer to writing done for different purposes and different audiences. So what are texts? Texts can be written. They can also be visual. Visual texts are created using images which may or may not contain words. We encounter visual texts in our everyday lives through newspapers, magazines, brochures, and advertisements. Audio texts such as podcasts or books with audio read-alouds, and multimedia messages that convey information or ideas such as a video clip or slideshow presentation. Multimedia texts include images, posters, web pages, videos, or even a combination of these. Through technology, students can design multimedia products which encourage meaningful application of new knowledge as well as language. These opportunities present new ways for teachers to model complex language, engage ways to learn and show learning, and provide opportunities to interact with complex multimodal texts that incorporate linguistic scaffolds. Now my colleague Suzanne will walk you through the rest of this module.
Hello, my name is Dr. Suzanne Abdelrahim-Tartier, and I'll be walking you through the rest of this module. Let's take a look at a classroom example of a second grade teacher engaging students in a Socratic seminar around the text Thunder Cake by Patricia Polacco. As you watch, collect evidence of fortifying complex output. Pause this module as you watch the video, then come back to it afterwards to engage in some checks for understanding. In this video, we see a lot of evidence around fortifying complex output. There are several routines and structures this teacher uses to encourage and ensure that all students engage in the oral use of academic language. She had students partnered up in the beginning, sitting knee to knee, discussing the story, characters, and the setting. They had practice using appropriate language with their partners, therefore were ready for the Socratic seminar, which was a whole class discussion. She then engaged them in a Socratic seminar, where she asked them a variety of questions, encouraging them to use sentence frames to organize their thinking. Now it is your turn to practice. Which example or examples from the video illustrate the teacher engaging students in high-quality oral output? You may pause this video as you make your selection. The correct answer is C. This example shows how the teacher engages students and helps develop their abilities to use appropriate vocabulary, syntax, and discourse strategies to communicate clear, meaningful, and original academic messages. Now take a few minutes to reflect on how you provide your students with opportunities for oral and written output. You may pause this video as you reflect. We also see many examples of the cross-cutting practices from the allies frame in this video. The practice of clarify focuses on how effectively a teacher clarifies throughout the lesson to make academic language input more clear. She checks for academic language comprehension. The teacher provided a sentence frames chart and repeated student responses to model and clarify academic language and appropriate response. Looking briefly at the other cross-cutting practices, the teacher models academic language and use of conversation skills and guides and facilitates academic language learning with questions. Here is another example of how the teacher clarifies. Teacher says, "How does the author use descriptive words to make the story more interesting?" Student says, "I agree with Samantha, and there are more interesting words." Teacher says, "Like what?" Then another student goes on to talk about warm hands, grease spot, and a wood stove. The teacher restates the specific words mentioned by the student and makes the connection to the question posed. Can you identify other examples of how the teacher clarifies in this lesson? Pause this video as you take a moment to think. Another example may be how the teacher uses the depth and complexity, gate icons, use of detail questions, pattern questions, language of the discipline questions. By providing these type of questions, the teacher provides a great opportunity to check for academic language comprehension. Take a moment to reflect on how you clarify to make academic language input more clear while providing opportunities for students to produce oral and written output. You may pause this video as you reflect. Today we focused on fortifying complex output. Be sure to take a look at our videos on using complex text to build academic language and fostering academic interactions for the TK2 classrooms. Thank you for your time and attention.